Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGenEd. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts like the charts behind me, which are of cannabis stocks and ETFs. And so I'm going to be going over this list here that you can see because it was requested that I do a follow-up. And so thank you for the request. And also, if there are ever any tickers that I haven't done a follow-up video on in a while, just let me know in the comments that you'd like to see a follow-up. Happy to do it. The reason why I haven't done a cannabis update in a little while is because there are a number of them, so it's kind of a daunting list to go over. And the last video didn't really get that many views, just barely broke 100. And so I didn't really feel like there was too much interest. And, I didn't want to be investing all of the time into going over all these tickers if there aren't going to be that many views. And on that note, I do think it is good to consider paying attention to the number of views that videos get, the number of likes, the amount of comments, because a lot of times when things are rallying really high, that is when there will be most engagement, and that's kind of a top signal. And when there's nothing going on, when there are no comments, no views, stuff like that, I feel like that's more likely to be a bottom signal. And so these past weeks has just been a really good time to be accumulating more cannabis stocks, ETFs, or at least that's the way that I look at it. And one other note is that I had mentioned that there are a number of these tickers, and whenever I do a cannabis stock video, I always get a request to add another one to the list. And with that being said, it kind of makes me feel like the market's a little bit saturated. And so, that makes me feel like not all of these are going to be winners. So I do think that is something to consider, whether, investing in all of them, some of them, or, going with an ETF might be a safer bet because some of these, may go away. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there because I do think that's kind of an interesting aspect of the cannabis sector. And so the last time that I did put out a video, I forget exactly when it was, but it was following news that cannabis is going to be rescheduled, or at least the FDA or DEA is making steps for that to happen. But really not that much has been happening the past couple of weeks. And, so this is actually behind me. There's something about rescheduling news, so that was May 20th, sometime around then. But anyways, yeah, I'm just going to go over the charts, and I'm going to start with the two ETFs and then go down the list alphabetically. I will put timestamps to all of the tickers. So, if there's one specific one that you're interested in, you can skip ahead to that. But I'm just going to do them in alphabetical order, and you can check the little time bar to see where your favorite ticker is. But starting here with the cannabis ETF, ticker symbol MSOS, which closed on Friday, May 31st at a price of $8.02, being up about 1.5% on the day, but pulling back 2 cents in the after hours, closing the after hours trading session at the end of May at a price of $8 a share. So I actually think that's pretty good that it was able to get an official close above $8 a share. Whenever, there are options associated with an ETF like this one, it's going to be significant when, closing above a key level, like round number $8 a share. Because then those options, those calls are in the money, so that's good. But anyways, just looking at the chart, I have not adjusted any of the drawings that I've previously put up on these. So I will be doing that live, sort of as I record this. But, the thing that stands out to me is this blue line here at 787. So that represents the high that was hit on March 14th. And so that was a gap fill to the downside. But actually, if we do pay attention to the close for that day, that is going to be a more proper gap fill coming down to that level, which is $7.72. And so that gap has officially been filled. And so I think that's a really good thing for MSOS and likely the cannabis sector in general. And I'm actually, rather than deleting that line, I'm going to adjust it to that closing price of $7.72. So I'm just going to do that here. Excuse me. And so, we can see there that has been filled. So I think that actually looks really, really good. And let's see. This green uptrend makes me think maybe there was, a head and shoulders pattern. I'm actually going to remove these Fibonacci retracements and I'll just start from scratch when I get to doing those. But I just want to, draw this. Let's see if I can adjust this over to here so that, it kind of looks like head and shoulders pattern. It's not perfect, but we could see that here. And with that being said, if we do take a measurement from the top of the head down to the neckline, that could suggest where price will be going following the break of this neckline. Since it really just broke up here, I'm actually going to extend this up to there. And so that could suggest prices coming down to $4.70, dropping about $4 from current price. So that is, pretty, a pretty big drop. That's a $4 drop. Let's see, $4 drop from the neckline, and that would be bringing price to $4.70. So not $4, $4.70. And so do I think that's going to happen? I don't really think so, but it is quite possible. And so if we are to be thinking that these are going down, that the ETF here will be going down, what are some levels that we might want to be paying attention to that we should be holding as support? And so one level, I'm going to try to draw this right to the penny, $7.30. That was the low hit on March 12th. And so from that, let's see, I don't need to adjust that, but I'm going to make the line a little bit thicker. That is one that we might want to be paying attention to. And I'll actually color that yellow because I'm going to do some Fibonacci retracements. That will likely be white, and so I don't want to mix them up. So that I think is an important level. We don't want to be getting any closes below $7.30, but hopefully we have seen the bounce here, putting in higher lows. I do think that is good, even though we did break this uptrend. And let's see. What I might do is do a Fibonacci retracement from, I should say, the low here at $4.78. May not draw it exactly on the day, but I'm going to get it to the exact price. And then up to the high here of $11.37. Just going to lock that into place. And I'm going to add all of the levels to this so we can get an idea of where price might be going. And actually, we did dip below the 50% retracement at $8.07. So that would be a good one to be reclaiming, as we don't want to be dipping lower like we did dip here. Let's see, March 14th, 13th, right around there. We did dip to the 618, but we actually bounced there at $7.30. So pretty remarkable, actually, that the 618 is exactly $7.30. We did drop there, and now maybe we're getting a fake out break below the 50% retracement. So I think that it'd be really good for price to be reclaiming 807. So I would look for that. But if price does go lower, $8.30 is going to be key. Like I said, we don't want any closes below that level. But if we do get a close below $7.30, look for it to hold at $7.09. So that is the golden pocket, ranging from the 65% retracement up to the 618. And so that is a level that is commonly retraced to. If we do get a dip below $7.30, but don't close below $7.09, that could potentially be a really nice dip buying opportunity before a bounce. But I do think at that point that bounce could be short-lived, because we would then be putting in a lower low, and that could suggest this is breaking down, rolling over, rather than bouncing at a higher low. And that's what we're seeing right now. So, looking at this $7.72 blue level, hopefully that was support. We did close the month above $8, so I do think that's good. Now we just need to see closes above $8.07. I do think we could be seeing that this week, and so that is what I would be looking for. But, before I get too far into MSOS, I'm going to switch over to MSOX, which is the, I believe, 3x leveraged, 2x leveraged cannabis stock ETF. And so here we can see that we have broken this uptrend pretty clearly. And so, yeah, I mean, we have formed a lower low, so not really looking so great there. And so that does make me think that this head and shoulders pattern could be playing out. So we might be looking for some downside. That's not what I expected, but something that we should be preparing for. But before I do this measurement, I should note that MSOX closed on Friday, May 31st at a price of $3.51, being up about 0.5% on the day and then continuing up about 0.25% in the after hours closing, the after hours session at $3.51.8. But now back to the chart. I'm just going to move this over to where we did break that neckline. Where might that be bringing price? That's actually going to be bringing price negative. So I don't think that is going to be playing out. So don't worry about that. Yeah. And so from this, let's see, I'm just going to zoom in on the chart. I'm going to remove these Fibonacci retracements just because I want to be putting up new ones, get some fresh levels on here. And, just like I did before, I had this gap drawn to the high from March 14th. That was at $4.05, but actually the close was $3.94. So I'm just going to adjust this to that level. And there we go. And so we have broken below that, and so that's going to be a key level for us to be getting above. We've also broken below the lows here. So the low on March 12th was $3.52, currently being below that level. So I do think that is going to be an important one to reclaim. I'm just going to adjust this line to be at $3.52. And so right there, I'm going to make that line a little bit thicker and make it yellow so it does stand out whenever I do a retracement. But, we basically closed the after hours trading session, a fraction of a penny below that line. So maybe that's one that we will be reclaiming. So I think that's something to be looking for. And so I am going to do, let's see, a Fibonacci retracement from the low here that was hit on, let's see, October 30th of 2023 being $2.02, coming up to the high that was hit on April 30th, that being at a price of $7.95. I'm probably going to be off just a little bit, so I'll have to adjust that. And so get this to the fraction of a penny right there. Okay, and so with that, we've broken below the golden pocket, and we are, though, testing the 786. And one thing I think is really important to be paying attention to with MSOX versus MSOS, this one is leveraged, 2x leverage, so it's going to behave a little bit differently. It's going to, overreact, I would say, in a lot of ways, whether that's to the upside or the downside. And so with MSOS, potentially bouncing from this gap fill, potentially reclaiming the 50% retracement, that could be really good, even though, or not, I shouldn't say even though, as it still is looking good, putting in higher lows here with MSOS, even though, with MSOX, we're putting in lower lows. So maybe this is kind of like that overreaction because this is leveraged. So something to be thinking about. But so, there are some levels here that we really do need to be holding. One of those, like I said, is the 786. It's at a price of $3.28.9. We are above it now, but, we might be closing below it. We actually did see one close below it on May 29th, closing at a price of $3.25. Hopefully that is the lowest close that we see, and we are starting to get some closes in this coming week above $3.52, getting back to this gap fill level at $3.94, reclaiming that, getting back into the golden pocket, ranging from about $4.10 up to about $4.28.5. Once we get to that level, though, $4.29 or 30 cents, let's say, I think there's going to be a lot of resistance there because, we do see a lot of this consolidation or, bottoms being formed there. And so those bottoms are going to be tough to get above. Prior support becomes resistance moving forward. And so that's what we're looking at here. And then one other thing that I do want to do with this one, just kind of out of curiosity, I'm going to do a Fibonacci extension. So if I do that, taking this retracement from the bottom to the top here, just like I did with the regular fib retracement, I'm going to take this extension, coming down here to I'll just do it to the 786. So it's kind of based on that Fibonacci retracement. Even though I'm not fixing it in place, I'm not locking it, it's not to the fraction of a penny, but we can see, where price might be going if we are to start to reclaim these levels to the upside. And so getting back to this top is 786. That's at $7.94.5 here. So it's a little bit off from the $7.95, but that is, that makes sense. We did retrace to the 786. 786 is lined up just there. But if we were to extend that to a 100%, that would be to $9.21.1. So maybe we see that. And then the next one up, the 1618, is at 1287, right around there. And so are there any levels from the past that make sense to correspond with those levels? So I could see $9.20 right around there being some resistance, because we do have this consolidation over here that might be tough to get above, but if we can break above it, let's see, maybe, yeah, there's a shot to like 12.80 or $13, and that is actually just below the bottoms that we see here, right around 13.50. Let's see, what was the low for this? Is October 6th of 2022. The low is $13.09. So yeah, that does correspond pretty nicely with this 1618. So maybe we are to see price going up there, but considering that we have put in a lower low here, maybe it's not looking so good, as we have broken below this uptrend. But, maybe that's kind of a target for us to be then moving up to, reclaim or get above, that purple uptrend. And so getting up to there where you see that arrow right here, that is an upside move of about 42%. Maybe we get rejected there, pull back to, the blue line right around $4 before going higher. And I should note that getting to that price would be around $4.69. So yeah, maybe there's something there. But, with that being said, on those two ETFs, I am now going to switch over to the stocks. And so the first stock that I will be going over is Aurora Cannabis, so a ticker symbol ACB, which closed on Friday, May 31st at a price of $6.19, being up about 0.5% on the day and being flat in the after hours. So what do I see here? I mean, all of these, unfortunately, it does look to me like we might be putting in head and shoulders patterns. So, this is kind of an ugly one, but it is still valid because, we have this left shoulder here, with this big wick up, but the top of the head, if this is an ugly head here, was higher than that. So it's still valid. And so let's just draw a trend line to kind of connect, let's see, maybe just from over here, just drawing this approximately. Yeah, so I think it'd have to be something like this. And then I can just adjust that. So we've got, all of these touch points of that neckline, ugly left shoulder, ugly head, and kind of a more normal looking right shoulder. We have broken below that. And let's see. I'm just going to take a measurement, from the top here, 935, 936, it's a little bit off, to that neckline, and then move that down. That could actually be coming to a gap fill here right around $3.19. And let's see, that's based on the high from March 15th. And so actually, if I were to adjust that to the close, that would be $3.18. So I could see that happening, as this is not an ETF. This is a stock. It will, I would say, behave more predictably based on, these levels, technical analysis, stuff like that. So this one could be dropping, about getting a 50% reduction in the price. So do brace for that, or at least have a plan for if that does happen. But, I want that all of these stocks to be going higher. While I'm not a holder of ACB, I do hold some Tilray. I do think that this year, given that it's an election year, I think it will be bullish for cannabis. But maybe, we're starting to see some things fade, that momentum fade. And so I'm just going to do, let's see, another Fibonacci retracement. I'm going to go from the bottom here. And just for the sake of time, I might just do this kind of approximately, because this video is going to get way too long if I'm doing this to the exact penny. but I'm going to try. And so it looks like we have pulled back to the 50% level, which is right around. I am actually going to do this to the penny because, yeah, I'm just going to adjust it otherwise. And I like to have things to the penny. It's just the way that I am, kind of weird, but whatever. All right, locking that into place so it will not move. We did pull back to the 50% retracement, which is $6.09. Potentially holding that, I think it would be good, not seeing too much volume as price is trading lower. So I think that is potentially good that we might be seeing a reversal. And it would be really nice to see a reclaim of the 382, which would be $6.86. But that is still, below this uptrend. Which is potentially that, head and shoulders neckline. So we really do need to see ourselves reclaiming that. That would be getting to a price of, above $7 a share, maybe $7.25 or $7.50, depending on when we get to that level. But, I do think that is going to be important for us to see that. And let's see, though, if I do a Fibonacci extension, just to get kind of an idea of where this could be going. Let's see if we are to find a bottom here and we are to break above, this uptrend, maybe the 236 that's right here, $7.61, maybe that will be a significant level to be getting a close above, or 781 like from the 236 over here. So, I think that's something to consider. Beyond that, though, $8 a share, I think that's going to be a pretty key level. But if price does continue to bleed, if it does continue to go lower, the golden pocket is down here at $5.12 to 33 cents. So that might be a level where we do find some support. But, what we want to be seeing is higher lows. And we do have this low from April 17th. That being a low of $5.44. We don't want to see lower lows than that. And so getting to the 618 or this golden pocket here, that would be a lower low, not looking so good for the stock. And then I would think that this gap might be getting filled. So, with this one, good to be cautious with. And actually, of all of these tickers, the ones that I have covered previously, excuse me, I'd say I'm least compelled by ACB. I feel like largely just because I believe it has one of the smaller market caps, and it just seems a little bit risky as far as the percentage moves that it's made. It doesn't strike me as the most compelling. The one, however, that does strike me as fairly compelling is Canopy Growth Corporation, ticker symbol CGC, and they closed on Friday, May 31st at a price of $8.53, being down about 0.7% on the day and continuing down about 5 pennies in the after hours. And I have to say, their earnings were on Thursday of last week. I apologize for not covering them. It slipped my mind. I should have covered them, but oh well, it's in the past. And let's see, looking at the chart, all of them, unfortunately, looks like they've got, some form of a head and shoulders pattern. And so I could see these coming down. So I think it's good to be cautious with any of them, all of them. And so I'm just going to clean up some of these drawings and just take my time with that. Okay, so we do have this 618 here. We did bounce from that. I do think that's good. But let's see, can I draw kind of like a makeshift head and shoulders pattern? Not really. I don't really think this is too valid because, maybe I could do it. I'd have to like really crank it up here. Yeah, this is not really much of a right shoulder because this head is just such an odd shape. So I'm not too compelled by this. But, if we are to do a retracement from the top, not a retracement, a measurement to the neckline, see where that break was, where would that be bringing price? That would be bringing price, let's see, down, $7.50 about. That'd be bringing it to, I guess $2.41. Maybe actually, let's see, did I do this? Yeah, it's negative. It's down to, sorry, I'm just going to go back to, I don't know which one of these I did. I think MSOX. I think I was incorrect when I said that this would go negative. So I just want to, actually, no, that would Yep, that will be going negative. So anyways, back to CGC. And so, yeah, I mean, with this, like I've done with the other ones, and I'm actually going to, what are all of these? Okay, so that's, what is that downtrend? Okay, so maybe that's something. But let's see. One thing that we can do that's pretty interesting with this one is, okay, so we did get a retracement to the 618 here, kind of hard to see, but that's at $6.12. Now I'm going to do a fib extension from here to the top and then down to that 618. Where do we go? We did a 100% extension, from that to 1497. The high was 1492. Pretty cool there. Was a nice predictor of that move. And, but then we have pulled back and we are from that, testing the, let's see, 236. So we want to be holding that. We're really, kind of playing with fire right now. The 236 is right around $8.22. We got some lows of $8.20, $8.20 these 2 days, the 28th and 29th of May. But we got closes $8.48 both of those days as well. 853 just recently. So we are respecting the 236, so hopefully we can hold that. But if not, then, it's quite possible we could be heading down to the, let's see, full, I guess not full retracement. It would be a full retracement if this was not an extension. If this was just a retracement up to here, that would then be the full retracement back to around $6.14. The low of April 17th was actually $6.09. So that could be a level we might be going to, so do brace for that. But if we are to move higher, the 382 is right around 950. Next level up about 1050, and the 618 is going to be at 1160, and that could correspond with a break back above this neckline, which I don't really think it is. I don't think that we're heading back down here, but 275, quite the possibility. So do keep that in mind, have a plan for it if it does happen. But those are some levels. Hopefully that is helpful. And let's see here. Now looking at Cronos Group, ticker symbol CRON, which closed on Friday, May 31st at a price of $2.59, being up about 3.6% on the day, but then pulling back about 2 pennies in the after hours. And so, not looking too bad there. But let's see. So from this, I'm just gonna adjust these at least, because I'm not trying to predict what happened here. I did, a bunch of stuff in the past. But let's see this golden pocket here. Maybe that's something that we want to be keeping in mind. I'm going to delete it. And so, yep, got this uptrend here. Maybe that is a level, let's see, that we might be coming down to. It's around $2.40. Maybe that's going to happen. But what I'm going to do is a Fibonacci retracement from the low that was hit on April 22nd. $2.17. Man, I'm a fraction of a penny off. And then going up to the high here, $3.14. So this fraction of a penny, let's see, I think that should be right. And yep, that's good. Okay, so I don't move it, lock it into place. And so, yeah, we have pulled back to, like I said, I believe I said the 618. Actually, that was from the retracement over here, so it was a little bit off. So we did get a close below that golden pocket, but then we have reclaimed it, getting a close on Friday above 257. What's the significance of that level? Let's go back in some time. There's a low over here, so that support then became resistance, and we've struggled with it. But now that prior resistance, hopefully we're able to claim it and hold it and not get any more closes below 257. If we do get a couple below it, it might just be kind of a fake out, but we do want to be seeing price going higher. But if we cannot be holding or reclaiming, well, I guess we've already reclaimed it, closed in the month of May above it, but if we can't reclaim 257, we might be coming down to the 786, right around $2.37.8. And so that is, going to be corresponding with this red uptrend. Now, let's see, I didn't lock that into place. So that's kind of just an approximate level, but it does seem to correspond with that 786. So maybe that is something to be paid attention to. And I do want to just make sure, 257, that was the low over here. You can see that on the chart. And so That's not just a random number that I pulled out of a hat. That was the actual low over there. And yeah, and so let's say we do pull back. I mean, with this chart, I could see it pulling back to this red uptrend that just makes a little bit of sense, because it was respected or, tested as resistance here before the breakout. Pull back to the scene of the crime, break above, and now things are not looking so good. It might be getting another test of that, but hopefully no big wicks below it. And so from that, I don't know that this is going to be valuable at all, but if I do, actually, yeah, I think this would be nice for, let's see, from here to here, and then pulling that back down to this point. Where do we go up? Let's see, I need to color this yellow so it's easier to distinguish. We went up to above the 786, but could not get to the 100%. Right in between, that's $3.03 up to $3.26. So, I think that's neat. Just wanted to throw that up there. And so that was a pullback to, just do another Fibonacci retrace so we can see what that bottom was. That bottom was breaking below the golden pocket. And so let's see, with that being said, hopefully we are to respect the golden pocket on this leg up, and that would actually look pretty good for the stock. And so doing this Fibonacci extension, going up to the top there, pulling back to that 65% retracement, which is the base of the golden pocket, maybe we could be seeing price going higher. And yeah, maybe getting up to $2.27 or $3.27 or about $3.50 if we do get a balance. We have been putting in higher lows, but since we have pulled back so much from these bounces, may not be looking so good. But hopefully we are able to hold the 786, which is at $2.37.8 drawn to the penny. So those fractions of a penny may be significant, but there might be some wicks below, maybe a close below, but hopefully not more than that. But yeah, so hopefully that's helpful on CRON. And now I'm going to be switching over to Curaleaf, ticker symbol CURLF. This is another one like ACB, which I would say I'm less convinced by because it does have a pretty small, actually this has a pretty large market cap. I'm wondering why it's OTC if it has a 2.8 billion market cap. So that's pretty crazy. And so, I'm going to approach this one a little bit differently than the others because I've got it drawn up here a little bit differently. And I should note that Curaleaf did close on Friday, May 31st at a price of $4.63, being up about 1.3% on the day and being closed in the after hours, I assume because it's over the counter. And because it's over the counter, I don't believe I can trade it. But let's see what we got drawn on the chart here. Looks like I thought there was this channel going on, and maybe we will be testing the base of that channel again. So something to keep in mind. And if I do a retracement from the low here and up to the top there, the 786, maybe I should draw this to the fraction of a penny just so, I'm being good to all of these, to the level. Let's see, 38. There we go. And over here, 379. Man, I'm just a little bit off. Okay, that's actually perfect. Cool. Lock that into place. And so we are below the golden pocket, and that 786 is at $4.34.4. Pulling back to that level could correspond with a retest of this parallel channel. And so I feel like this one, and probably likely all of these tickers, likely going to see a little bit more downside before some support is found. And with that being said, I think the bottoms could be in, or I should say could be near for these. And then let's say we get to the bottom of this channel, here, there was a fake out break below it. And so let's just use this as kind of an example. From that fake out break below it, one would have had to endure basically a 20% decrease in the price. So that sucks. But then holding it through, getting back to the top here, that's an 84% swing before getting to the top of that channel. And then once at the top of that channel, then getting a pullback. That's a decrease of about 34% before the test of that channel. And then going back up again, this to the highs. That's like a almost 70% swing there, so looking pretty good. And now, from the highs here, pulling back to, let's say, test going to that 786, it's a almost 32% drop there. And if we are to pull back to whether it's that Fibonacci retracement, from price being green right here, right around 463, right around there, pulling back down to the 786, that's a drop of about 6%, pulling back to that line, could be 8, maybe 10% to the downside. So do brace for that, and then keep an eye out for if we are able to hold that level. And so the way that I drew that, we can see these pivot points here, really just like the low hit here on, let's see, is that April 24th of 2023. That low is $2.19. Yeah, so that's one pivot point. And then this other pivot point would be, I believe, $3.79. That was hit as the low on March 12th of 2024. And so that's how you get that line there for the base of it. But if you do want to draw a parallel, really, it's just that line, then you can move this up and down. So I think that's a pretty nice way to kind of get, an idea of what's going on with the chart. But I do think, like I said, at most maybe 10% to the downside. But then following that downside move down to the 786, let's say, there could be a 50% swing, or maybe more than that to get to the top of that channel if the bottom of it does hold. So good to be paying attention to that. And so now I will switch over to SNDL, ticker symbol SNDL, which closed on Friday, May 31st at a price of $2.22, being up almost 1% on the day, but then pulling back about almost 0.5% in the after hours, which is really only, 1 penny, being down to $2.21 in the after hours trading session. And so let's just look at this chart here. This one, I don't really see a head and shoulders pattern like I did with the others, so I think that's good. And, I don't even really have to draw anything with this one because I do have this Fibonacci retracement drawn from the more recent lows up to the highs. We have pulled back to the golden pocket there, the 65 to 618 levels there. That's from 216 to 220. We're right above that. So I do think it's good that we were able to hold that, maybe kind of forming a double bottom with this wick low that came down on May 9th. So maybe looking good there. And while it is consolidating here after this down move, could be a bear flag. One thing that does look encouraging, at least to me, is volume is not that high. So it does suggest, that a bottom could be getting found here as we do see this consolidation. And so I would look for a retest of the 50% retracement. That would be at $2.34. Want to be getting some closes above there. But if we can't, we do start to see a price slide to the downside. Let's add the 786 back to this retracement. And we could see that's right around $2 a share. And we do have a good amount of consolidation here, a little bull flag there before this big move up. And so maybe that is, a level to be preparing for. Maybe we get a bounce off of this golden pocket. Maybe it goes higher to, eclipse $2.93, getting into the threes. That'd be really nice. So, maybe now is a good time to add a little bit, but not a whole position or, not add everything right now in case we do pull back to $2 a share. Something to keep in mind there. And with that being said, just for fun, I'm going to do another Fibonacci extension from the low here up to the high down to, I'm just going to do it to the 65% level, and we can see where price might be going, getting up to $3 a share, $3.09 with the 786 extension there, or going up to the 100% to be like $3.34, or getting up to the 1618. It's right around $4 a share. So, getting pretty high up there, that would be pretty nice. And with this, we have been forming higher lows, so I think that's good. Although, one thing that I talked about this in the plug power video, so I'd suggest checking that out if you haven't watched it. I talked about Elliott waves and how when they are formed, you get a big move up and then a higher low. So that's good. So this could be wave 1 and 2. But then going up wave 3, we did not really go that much higher, and we did not, or I should say we did overlap with wave 1 here. And so that is actually a suggestion that this may not be going to the next leg up, and so this might be pulling back some more. So maybe $2 a share, something to keep in mind. And I do want to also note that here we do have this higher low, or sorry, this higher high in the stock price, but with the RSI, we actually have lower highs. And so that's bearish divergence. With that, though, we have seen from that top, we have seen a pullback of, about 25%. And so maybe that is, the bearish move to follow that bearish divergence. But, maybe it could be going lower. And actually, let's see, we are forming higher lows here, whereas with the RSI now forming, we can see that there, lower lows. And so that is actually hidden bullish divergence. Bullish divergence would be lower lows and a higher lows in RSI. This is the opposite of that, so that could be hidden bullish divergence. So maybe the bottom is right around the corner and that these stocks are respecting the respective levels that they're at currently. With SNDL maybe respecting this golden pocket before moving higher. So potentially look for that. But like I said, maybe it does pull back to $2 a share, so be cautious about it and be ready for it if it does happen. But now I'm going to move on to my favorite one, Tilray Brands, ticker symbol TLRY. This is one that I do hold, and pretty crazy. It's been a while since I looked at this, and before I do get into it, I should mention that Tilray closed flat on the day Friday and in the after hours, closing the week, the month, the day at a price of $1.80. So not really too exciting there, but I had previously been, stacking at $1.70, this yellow line here. And, maybe that is, going to be revisited, but I would hope not, because there is this orange uptrend that I've drawn here based on these two pivot points. So that's like the low from, I guess, June 21st of 2023 being at a price of $1.50. And then this other pivot point, I believe, is the low from November 13th at a price of $1.61. So you can see those two pivot points. That's how I draw that uptrend. We did get like a fake out break below it here, but more recently it has, more or less been respected. We are back at that level. So maybe the bottom is right around the corner, or, almost in. And actually, I think this is a really nice example of, when comparing Tilray with the other tickers, Tilray hadn't moved that much. And, it is a pretty larger cap one, over $1 billion, almost $1.5 billion market cap. And, some of the ones like CGC and SNDL, they moved more to the upside as far as percentage-wise, as far as I can recall. Like CGC here just moved massively. But, it hasn't cooled off enough. So maybe there's more downside for a stock like CGC or with Sundial, that hasn't really cooled off that much, whereas Tilray has cooled off a bunch. So this one actually seems like, the dip buying could be beginning sooner than with the other ones, whether it's respecting this orange uptrend, maybe it dips to 170 again, but it does also look like it is below this 786. So maybe that's a little bit not so great, and that 786 is at a price of $1.83.5. So, not looking so great being below that level, but it is above this uptrend. Excuse me. And so, yeah, for me, like, I have a position in Tilray. It's not a huge position, but I just add when it pulls back. And so if it pulls back to this uptrend, if it pulls back to 170, maybe it goes down to 160, I'm just going to be casually adding, not a big deal. I think that these cannabis stocks will be performing well regarding the election, states legalizing cannabis, or it making advancements as far as the schedule process, stuff like that. And also these companies doing things other than just cannabis, also, beer, liquor, things like that. I think there's a lot of, potential for these to be going higher. And I do think that Tilray, out of all of these that I've looked at, I feel the most confident that this is likely near a bottom, or nearer a bottom than the other ones. And, maybe if it does pull back some more, let's see, actually, I'll throw up the volume profile. I haven't done that with any of these. Let's see, the point of control is this line here, I believe, and that is at a price of $1.77, right about there. Just a little bit above that, and that does seem to correspond pretty nicely with this uptrend. And so I could see that, 177, maybe that's a really good dip buying level before we get the next rally higher. and to kind of get an idea of where that next rally higher could be. I'm just going to do some fib extensions because I think they're pretty cool. Just going from the low here up to the top here and then to this drawdown. And we then moved, not really that exciting, but to the 382, almost the 50% level. And that's, so not really that exciting there. But let's see if I were to pull this back to here. Yeah, maybe I'm not really sure. It's tough to say because we have been. Let's see. Actually, yeah, good to note this. Lower lows here. RSI also lower. Sorry, lower highs. RSI also lower highs. So no bearish divergence. Let's see. Higher lows. It's kind of. Let's see. It's not flat. It is higher lows, but nothing too substantial there. But anyways, I'm just going to do this. Let's see this little extension here just to have some fun, see where this might be taking us. And yeah, I mean, even the 161.8%, that extension there, 242, that's lower than the high that was hit here on April 30th at a price of $2.51.5. So, yeah, I mean, this has been beaten down a lot, but with that being said, I think this one could potentially be the best opportunity to add to the position. And so, yeah, I mean, we are still holding this uptrend. We are still above 170. And so those would be levels that I would want to reevaluate at. If it does go below 170, 160, don't want to be getting closes below that. But if we do, then 150 would be the next level. So keep those in mind. And now, finally, I am going to switch over to the last ticker, which is Terrascent, ticker symbol TSNDF. This one also being OTC, and this one also not having a very large market cap, almost 400 million, 388, and having closed on Friday, May 31st at a price of $1.54, being up about 1.3% over the course of that day. And so here, looking at this chart, this one looks pretty different from the other ones, I would say. It does seem like, I could do a parallel channel or I could just do a trend channel. I might just do the trend channel, and I'm going to do it beginning with this, let's see, when was this earnings? 8/11, so to not be fudging, with the different dates or anything, I'm just going to do it from 8/11, and then I'm going to have to adjust this, but let's see, pulling that forward to the future, and let's see, I don't really need to lock that, but I am going to remove the lines because I don't really like to look at them. They're just kind of not so great to look at. But yeah, we've just been trading, consolidating in this range from a low of $1.01 up to, the high of $2.49. And actually, looking at this, maybe I'm going to adjust the y-axis, see if I can just expand this. We can see the range a little better. Looks a little bit fuzzy, but I think this is nice because this shows us, that price has really, been bouncing around this channel for quite some time. And when price is in the blue shaded region, that's the time to be taking profits, especially when getting above that, taking profits there. And so let's see, just doing a measurement. If, one did not take profits up here, this pullback represents 58, almost 60% drop to the downside. But, accumulating shares in the red region from the bottom there going up to the top, that represents 100% swing. So that's pretty nice. And so, yeah, like I said, price has been residing in either the blue or the red regions here. Where's price right now? It's in the red region. So I would think this is the time to not be panicking, not be selling, just be chilling, maybe adding a little bit. And from, current price to get back to the top of that channel, just basically going straight up, that's about a 50% swing. And so, yeah, I feel like this one, if you got access to over-the-counter OTC stocks, maybe this is a good one to be accumulating while it's in the red. If it does get above like 170 or 180, then I would think it's starting to get into that blue region, and maybe it's time to start thinking about trimming if it does get up to there. But, price could be getting up to over $2 a share, and from, $1.54 right around $1.50, that represents, a 33% swing to the upside. So yeah, I mean, I think that this one actually looks like good to be accumulating. And, with that being said, all of these cannabis stocks, I'm going to switch over to the MSOS. All of these cannabis stocks that I've talked about, I do think that there are some bearish signs that it could suggest that price will be coming lower. But, with that being said, I do think that a lot of these are getting close to finding bottoms. And so this could be, the time to be accumulating and see where price goes over the next couple of weeks. Hopefully the levels that we're at are respected as support. But if not, if we do see a little bit more of a pullback, see if that next level down is acting as support. Because, if it does pull back to 730, forms a double bottom there, where could price be going with MSOS? Maybe up to this yellow uptrend. That's over 50% swing to the upside. So I think now is the time to be accumulating, just feeling comfortable with what you hold. And that's what I am doing with Tilray. I'm adding a little bit, as it is hanging out lower, but I'm not going too crazy. And, I'm just hanging out. And so, hopefully this video was helpful. Sorry I did not edit it, but, I'm just happy to have it out there for you guys, sharing my thoughts. And if you did find them helpful, make sure you like the video, share your thoughts in the comments down below, and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thanks a lot for the requests, and I hope you guys have a great week of trading. I'll see you ticker request live this evening. I'm just going to end this. Bye.